What's happening, everyone? Nicky Hawkins here, West Ham Fan TV. Just come back from Everton away virtually, where we watched a game. It was Everton 0, West Ham 1. Marshy, in ways New Year's goes, you couldn't wish for a better one, really.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think Happy New Year, really, to start off. I think they've made it, like we say, we've got smiles on the faces. That makes it all the more worthwhile, doesn't it? I think I thought we were looking into another goalless draw there, to be honest with you. And I was going to obviously take that with open arms. I would have taken the draw before the start of the game, before we kicked off. But I think for Souček, listen, right place, right time, and tucked it away. And we've nicked 3 points from the side that are. It's a very tough place to go, isn't it? And they were battling for second. Had they beaten us, and the score was role reversal. So no, listen, that was a great performance, great result.
Well, historically, it's always been a bit of a tough, place to go for us. I mean, I've personally watched some fucking trouncings there over the years. You know what I mean, and some really bad performances. But what you see before the game, and it's negativity starts to creep in when you see Fabianski's sort of injured himself in a warm up, and you think, oh God, this is going to be one of them days. But I've got to say, two bits of praise really: Moyes' team selection and the defence, and especially with Craig Dawson in there. They look, as a back four, they look so organised.
Yeah, I think that was always going to be the panic. I think after the way that we were putting ourselves about and performing as a back five, with the win back system, which seems to be prevailing pretty well. I think reverting back to the back four, if you like. The last few games we haven't done badly. Draw at Southampton, good result, good side, and to come here and be backs to the wall really from what you would expect, if you like, from a good Everton side, and at home, the momentum's with them, if you like, and all right, no supporters, but they know what they've got to do. They had a job to do as much as we did. But yeah, listen, Moyes he's got supporters back on side. I think after maybe a negative team selection in the last two, it's just a shame that I think had we gone about it the right way at Brighton and beaten them, and then got the draw at Southampton, 4 points from the two games.
To be fair, mate, even Chelsea.
Yeah, even Chelsea as well. I think that was, maybe we're bitten off a bit more than we can chew with Chelsea, but we let them we were well in the game for 60, 70 minutes. And all right, they got to go early doors. But away from that, as you said, Moyes' tactical selection today was spot on. All right, Haller, I still think he's improving the last couple of games. I don't think he had his worst game at Southampton. He definitely didn't have his worst game today, but I think we needed that injection of something different with Antonio. And obviously, goes to show in that limited amount of time, what was it, half hour, 30-odd minutes that he was on, he seemed to show what we'd been lacking and missing in the areas that Haller was making up for in his absence. So, but yeah, defensively, I've not seen us as sound as that since probably and on a Gabidon sort of days, and it's good to see. I think Ogbonna's just improving vastly. Every game he plays, early shout for Hammer of the Year. I've heard a lot of people saying about that, but like you say, Craig Dawson is. He's shows that experience that we've needed as well, and he could be very vital to the cause. He can clearly come in and step it up. I know me being one of them as well was slightly worried of his inclusion the last game, and he seemed to be pretty sound. So fair play to him there. Him and Ogbonna seem to be, having a bit of a partnership going on there. Clearly, a good understanding. They were sort of half celebrating, if you like, when we cleared the lines a bit, which was good to see. That gives you a lot of momentum, gives you a lot of positivity, confidence. So. Yeah, then obviously Fabianski, I'm not too sure on what the situation is there, but Randolph, when he was called into it, did what he needed to do. So, relatively quiet game, which we didn't expect at Everton. But listen, we've got to take that.
This season's one of the craziest seasons I think I've ever seen in terms of how tight it is. Not just, in the middle, but, top to middle. It's so tight. I think 4 games ago, Everton found themselves below us. They were sitting second in the league today. Now, we've had our slump, Marshy. We've got, don't forget, listen, you can't count points in the Premier League before they're on the board. But, having Burnley, West Brom and Crystal Palace, our next 3 games, you're looking at winning them 3. Where could we find ourselves in February?
Yeah, listen, a very good mate of mine was messaging sort of through the game saying that, Marsh, I've told you before, if you don't finish top 6, it's a nightmare season. But as much as I want to agree with him, we sort of know what West Ham are like, and not to say that you expect to see us fall off the gas a little bit and the pressure sort of take its toll, but you know, it's good to see the positives that we seem to be dealing with pressure when it's on us. We seem to be dealing with the ball in tight situations, and you know, we're definitely playing a lot more fluid football. You know, there's a lot of fluidity to it. You know, everyone seems to be getting a touch of the ball, and like you say, being realist like we are, you know, with West Ham, we've followed them up and down a long time. You know, this is one of the games that, like many others, we're gutted not to be coming away from physically, like, you know, especially with that sort of result late on. We maybe didn't expect it, and you know, why can't we be maybe pushing for a top 6? I mean, obviously, you know, anything inside a top 10, I think would be massive. But I mean, if we can creep about, you know, why can't we creep about inside the Europa sort of
a bit like
selections?
Leicester and Wolves last year? Just keep yourself up there and see what happens.
Exactly,
You
that's
know,
what I've
games
said,
come
Nick.
thick
To be
and
honest,
fast.
I think I've sort of documented it to say, look, you know, stay in touch, go about our business quietly, but let them know that we're sort of half there at the same time, and let the football do the talking on the pitch. And we seem to be doing that. I'm just hoping that Moyes. It's nice to see the inclusion of Ben Rama from the start. I think, like the Leeds game, I think some of the, I mean, his footwork is fantastic. I think, you know, obviously aerially he's not too great, but that's not, you know, that's not part of his game. That's sort of a weaker part of his game, and he got a little bit exposed for that in parts tonight in that game just then. But largely, he could be a massive player for us. You know, creativity that we've lacked, as well as Lanzini, that low sense of gravity. Declan Rice, I thought, is just, he's head and shoulders above everyone. I think that the captaincy is one thing, but that seems to get him, you know, another stride on top of everybody. You know, as much as he's head and shoulders anyway. I would love to be able to keep hold of him. I don't know what the Chelsea rumours are, what the setup is, but you know, as long as he's in West Ham shirt and he's performing like that, we have to take the positives. And obviously, Souček with the goal. I mean, I'd go as far as saying with Souček that I think he's probably the sign of the season in the league, across the board in the league. I think.
Listen, I said to the last two fan camps, mate, I think them two, when you look about what we've been saying for years, we're missing good fullbacks that can attack and defend. You know, that's an important part of the game now, and a real box to box midfielder. And
I think they were saying as well. I think we only paid what, 25 million for the two players.
I think it was 21.
Or 20, yeah. See, that's
5 million, I think.
Yeah, 5 million for a right back that gives you that, like you say, he's up and down. You know, nice to see the celebration at the end of the birth of his child and stuff. So that was good. It's all just seems to be a very positive camp, and like you say, which is massively vital and important. If we can keep that going, and like you say, the next couple of 3 games that we've got are going to be sort of. I think this game today shows the credential that we've got. And like you say, where can we finish realistically even now? You know what, 16, 17 games down the road. There's a long way to go, but we know and we've always possessed that quality, Nick. I think that's the frustrating thing amongst the supporters, that we know what we're capable of, and maybe we do expect it every week, but then being supporters of this club, you would do. And we've sort of kicked on a little bit. In fairness to Moyes as well, you know, he shouldn't go unjust. You know, credit where it's due with him. I think he's gaining more supporters again now. From the previous 2 team selections, he admitted he got it wrong, which was obviously too late. And he's righted the wrongs as such today. So it's a tough place to go, and with another clean sheet as well, which is vital. So you know, all power to the goal difference, and let's keep cracking on.
Listen, I wanted to mention this on post-match punt, but I'm going to bring it up with you, Marshy. Someone that's given their opinion for many, many years now. What did you make of the comments by David Moyes about the scouting system and the talent identification? He come out I think it was today or yesterday's press conference and said, look, in terms of like spotting talent, we're the worst set up in the league.
I think David Sullivan would maybe had his ears covered on that one, but I mean, again, fair play to him. If he wants to try and sort of get a structure going, and he clearly wants the as much involvement as feasibly possible. I think he said as well that he'd like to be able to give sort of maybe younger talent coming through a go. And obviously, Ben Johnson come in, scored a goal, all right, was on the receiving end of a result. But that's one thing. But yeah, I think the recruitment, and I think the agents, and the scouting procedure as it is, I think we know is fairly minimal as it is now. I think we had the least sort of scouts going out there, didn't we? I think that at one point. So for Moyes to, what was it, 5 down to 1, like you say? I think it was a total joke for an established Premier League team like we are. And we shouldn't forget that. All right, we've had our ups and downs in the Championship a few seasons, but if Moyes, if that's something that he wants to introduce, hopefully, obviously, he'll get the backing for that. And I think he deserves a backing for that. I'm a Moyes supporter. I'm definitely a Moyes in. I mean, I've seen a couple of Moyes out things over the last couple of weeks or that, but it's obviously a lot early to say. I'd actually try and get the contract negotiations going with him. I think he's clearly got a game plan. We clearly look like we know what we're doing on the pitch, and if he can get some involvement in that scouting and recruitment, policy off the pitch, and have some further involvement as to who comes in and who goes out, then like you said, and I think the question rightly is, where can we realistically, where can we end up? It's an exciting time at the moment, and we're on the up, and we maybe didn't expect that result tonight, but we've got it, and we need to push forward on that and definitely take the positives. They're a good side, so they wouldn't have expected to lose, but a lot of the credit goes to the players, I think they all dug in. We all showed that commitment and passion to want to win, and obviously showing what it meant at the end. I think Rice had the ball right at the end. I think he beat Tom Davis there down the line, straight on his knees, straight on his arse at the end, because he's shagged, and that's all you can ask for in this football team. That's all the supporters want, and it was just gutting that we couldn't be sort of there physically, wasn't it? One of them ones.
It was indeed, mate. Marshy, thank you very much for joining us, mate. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate
See you again
nice
next
one.
month.
Yeah, nice one.